Hey folks, welcome to STIVE, the Shock the Insanity video experience. Real quick, it is a bit humid, so I do have the fan on. That is going to do a little bit to blow this paperwork around. I'll try to keep it to a minimum. A couple days ago, Facebook decided that they were going to put together a list of tips people could use to help spot quote-unquote fake news. Regular viewers of this channel will realize that it wasn't too long ago I did a whole big rant on my take on the whole fake news bit, so I figured I would go ahead and read things off. Now, real quick, this is how it printed. Yes, that is faint wording. The printer I printed this off on has a couple quirks. May have a little something to do with the page layout. I will link you to those in the description. Tips to spot false news. We want to stop the spread of false news on Facebook. Learn more about the work we're doing. As we work to limit the spread, here are some tips on what to look out for. Now, there is no mention of the controversies about Facebook allegedly trying to suppress or boost various things on trending news, but yeah, they're just kind of whistling past that graveyard. Number 1, be skeptical of headlines. False news stories often have catchy headlines in all caps with exclamation points. If shocking claims in the headlines sound unbelievable, they probably are. Well, this one can actually go either way. One doesn't have to look too far to encounter instances where legit newspapers or other legit news outlets have resorted to that. If memory serves, the infamous "Dewey defeats Truman" headline was all caps. So, in and of itself, that's not actually a specific giveaway. It can set off alarm bells. It can be a signal for a person to maybe pay more attention, but in and of itself, that's not really a good one. Look closely at the URL. Number 2. A phony or look-alike URL may be a warning sign of false news. Many false news sites mimic authentic news sources by making small changes to the URL. You can go to the site to compare the URL to established sources. That's actually a good one. I'll give them that one. Not only is it a way to spot fake news, it can also be a way to spot sites that will take you to things that are malicious in nature, including malware or other things that can mess with your computer. That one I'll go ahead and give Facebook. Number 3, investigate the source. Ensure that the story is written by a source that you trust with a reputation for accuracy. If the story comes from an unfamiliar organization, check their About section to learn more. On one hand, yeah, that's good. If it's nobody's source, somebody you've never heard of, this is an important step to make sure that, yeah, you're dealing with something legit. Unfortunately, it simply being from a reputable source is sadly no guarantee. I mentioned in the previous video some incidents like MemoGate, which hurt CBS News, the Jason Blair scandal, which hurt the New York Times. So, yes, ask questions, but don't just take a name for granted. Number 4, watch for unusual formatting. Many false news sites have misspellings or awkward layouts. Read carefully if you see these signs. Sadly, I've also seen a few legit places that have done this too. When taken together with other things, yes, it's a warning sign, but in and of itself, not as strong as Facebook might be thinking. Number 5, consider the photos. False news stories often contain manipulated images or videos. Sometimes the photo may be authentic but taken out of context. You can search for the photo or image to verify where it came from. This, I will add the caveat. The bad guys on the internet have figured out how to embed viruses onto image files. It's happened before. People have been smacked by it. So make sure you've got a good antiviral if you are going to try and do a reverse image search to find the source of the image. That's just fair warning. Inspect the dates. Number 6. False news stories may contain timelines that make no sense or event dates that have been altered. That's just basic fact checking, and really it's something that should be done with any source, even if it's one you think is legit. 7. Check the evidence. Check the author's sources to confirm that they are accurate. Lack of evidence or reliance on unnamed experts may indicate a false news story. Again, this is something that, unfortunately, even mainstream or what people think to be real news outlets are guilty of. I've seen a few too many incidents of it myself. It's a bit on the sloppy side. It is a bit worrying. And so, unfortunately, this is not in and of itself something that is an automatic giveaway to real versus fake. Again, investigate. 8. Look at other reports. If no other news source is reporting the same story, it may indicate that the story is false. If the story is reported by multiple sources you trust, it's more likely to be true. I would add a caveat to that one. There are some instances where if a news story is just breaking, other sources may trail whatever is breaking it by minutes, possibly even hours, depending upon the speed with which everything breaks. So instead of simply saying, oh, no one else is saying it, it must be false, wait a little bit, see what other people say, if they catch the story too. Number 9, is the story a joke? Sometimes false news stories can be hard to distinguish from humor or satire. Check whether the source is known for parody and whether the story's details and tone suggest maybe just for fun. I'll add a caveat to that one as well. Every once in a blue moon, a legitimate news source will sometimes run a parody, especially if it's April Fool's Day or something else. Unfortunately, they may not always be tagged as parody, or the parody notice may be near the end, if not at the end. So again, pay attention, eyes and ears. And unfortunately, that tapping sound, that was the jack from my headphones hitting the floor. 10. Some stories are intentionally false. Think critically about the stories you read and only share news that you know to be credible. That goes for everything regardless of source. Again, the big prevailing thing instead of that fancy list should be, you have a brain. Use it. Don't just take any one thing at face value. If you can, try to check around for multiple sources and go from there. So your brain, your common sense. Those are the two biggest tools you've got for fake news and helping to spot it. One would think it would be easier to rely on that than some random list which may or may not have everything in a row, or may actually be deliberately worded by somebody to steer people towards one thing or another. So folks, just remember, even the good guys can get it wrong sometimes. Even the bad guys can get it right sometimes. That's where it's on you as the consumer to ask questions, do your research, and look at things with a skeptical eye if needs be. I'll leave you with that. And yes, the fact that I work for a newspaper and I'm saying this, that should tell you something. You want to question me on anything I write? Go for it. It's your prerogative. You want to disagree? That's up to you. And I'll just go ahead and leave it on that.